bummy today. You was bony and looking too funny today. I don't care, nigga still make change. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheeze podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze. Y'all already know the motto: no gimmicks, only the real. This is episode 51. Y'all know what I need from y'all. Smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like this video. Also, share the content when it drops, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, off Jump Street, y'all know where we starting at. I want to give a congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning Game 7 on Sunday and becoming the 2024-25 NBA champions. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champions. Oklahoma City capped a thrilling NBA Finals Sunday night with the dominant second half in Game 7 to secure a 103-91 win over the Indiana Pacers and the franchise's first NBA title since it moved from Seattle to Oklahoma City in 2008. A Pacers team that rallied for multiple unlikely wins throughout the playoffs kept pressure on in the fourth quarter after digging a 22-point hole, but without injured star Tyrese Halliburton, they couldn't complete the comeback. The win caps a brilliant season in which the Thunder posted a league-best 68 wins, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was named MVP for the first time. Gilgeous-Alexander powered the Thunder's efforts Sunday night to put away a Pacers team that pushed them to the brink. Gilgeous-Alexander was Oklahoma City's only reliable source of offense in the first half with 16 points as his teammates struggled to produce against an aggressive Pacers defense that carried Indiana to a 1-point halftime lead. He continued to pace the Thunder after halftime as they seized control of the game and finished Game 7 with 29 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. It marked a fitting end to one of the greatest individual seasons in NBA history. The results, in addition to securing the NBA title, was a Finals MVP trophy for Gilgeous-Alexander to add to his trophy case. The swarming defense that has became Oklahoma City's trademark took over after halftime as the Thunder repeatedly turned Pacers turnovers into transition points. For the game, Oklahoma City won the turnover battle 21-7 while securing 14 steals. The result was a 32-10 advantage in points off turnovers for the Thunder. As usual, it was a team effort with OKC's top defenders taking turns and frustrating Indiana's offense. Alex Caruso, 10 points, 3 rebounds. Cason Wallace, 10 points, 2 rebounds, and Lou Dort, 9 points, 7 rebounds, came up with 3 steals each, and each player in Oklahoma City's starting lineup logged at least 1. And after posting just 5 points posting 5 points each in the first half, Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren joined the party after halftime to help bring the title home. Williams finished the game with 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Holmgren added 18 points and 8 rebounds and was a defensive force at the rim with 5 blocks. So first we're going to jump into it by starting out with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder came in with the idea of, I don't know what idea they came into the game with, but I'm going to be honest with you, that second half, to me, as being a basketball fan, was one of the best defensive halves that I've watched in basketball in a long time. I think in the first half, after the Tyrese Halliburton injury, I think it kind of took the wind out of the stadium for both teams. But once OKC kind of settled down and realized what was going on, realized that they had the better team, I think that they just went ahead and tightened the screws up on it, and they did what they were supposed to do. I mean, they got contributions from everybody in that second half. The first half was looking a little rocky. Stephen A. Smith called the Thunder out during halftime, basically saying that it was only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander giving them something on the offensive end, and things wasn't looking too good on the defensive end. In the second half, they came out and looked like the Oklahoma City Thunder team that we had watched all year. They were scrappy on defense, getting turnovers, getting buckets off turnovers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander continued to do his thing. Then you had Chet and Jalen Williams join the party and do their thing. Alex Caruso played a huge part in this game. Cason Wallace hit some big-time shots. Lou Dort hit some big-time shots. But all in all, I picked OKC to win this series in 6. I felt as though the Pacers had a solid chance to make this series competitive just because of, you know, Rick Carlisle and what they have been doing leading up to the series. But I just think all in all, Oklahoma City was a juggernaut. They've been the best team all year. You know what I'm saying? From start to finish, they have the best I mean, everybody might not agree, but as of right now, they have the best player in the world. And, you know, I think they just went in the halftime, went in the locker room and said, okay, guys, we know Halliburton is unfortunately not coming back. We got to come out here and we got to tighten this thing up. And in the second half, they completely ran away with the game. The game was over to me in the third quarter. Indiana tried to make an effort to come back, but I felt there was nothing that Indiana could do to turn things around, especially without their best player and also with Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren starting to get things going. But speaking of OKC and talking, I got to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now. I'm going to be honest. I was one of those guys that felt as though he shouldn't have won the MVP. I think he had an amazing season, but I had Jokic edging him out in the MVP. After what we just seen in this finals and the way that he's played all year, staying consistent throughout the playoffs and now leading his team to a championship, whether you like it or not or agree, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player in basketball. Being able to be the best player on the best team in the league, lead your team, you know, timely buckets, timely shots, just is like when he's out there. And I know a lot of people like to throw the free throw thing out there or whatever, but even if you just take away the free throws, what he's able to give you in the mid-range, getting to the hole, you know what I'm saying, knocking down threes. He's not, you know what I'm saying, the best three-point shooter, but he can knock down some timely threes. And just the way that he forces the defense to all attention to be on him, he makes it so tough on the defense that he gives guys like Cason Wallace, Lou Dort. He gives guys like what's my man? He gives guys like Caruso. He puts so much pressure on the defense that he gives those guys those wide open shots, and it's like target practice out there for them. And that's due to the fact of what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does when he has the ball in his hands. For him to win the MVP, scoring title, win the Western Conference, have to go through Denver, 2 Game 7s in Denver and now in the finals with the Pacers, and be able to be consistent. I'm sorry, after this is one of the greatest regular season. This is one of the greatest statistical single seasons we've seen from an NBA player in a long time. Not to mention, you tally that up and now you win the championship. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm sorry, right now there's no arguing. I would say right now he's the best player in basketball. And people may not agree with that, but after what we just seen, for him to put the bow on it by winning an NBA championship, I think it's nothing else to be said. And I'm gonna be honest with you. This goes, my sincerest apologies go out to the Clippers fan base, because to know that y'all had this man in y'all locker room and y'all traded him away to acquire Paul George at the time, it seemed like a good deal. But I know right now it's Clipper fans out here that's punching the air to see what he just did for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But hell of a year for Oklahoma City. They've been the best team from beginning to the end, and now you tally this thing up and get the championship. And I don't think they done. I'm not saying that they can go back to back, but we're gonna discuss that a little later on. But OKC can have something special brewing, but it's all led by that man Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. As long as they have him, I believe that they're gonna have a shot to be competitive no matter what. But congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder for being the 2024-25 NBA champions. And you know, hey man, they've been the best team all year, and they did what they finished the job. Moving on to the Pacers side of things. The game was marred by a significant injury to Halliburton in the first quarter. Halliburton had hit 3 quick threes and appeared on pace for a big game with a team-high 9 points early on, but devastation struck late in the quarter. Halliburton fell to the floor after re-injuring the same leg that previously sustained a calf strain in Game 5. He was in immediate and obvious pain, prompting his teammates to surround him on the court. Before halftime, his father, John Halliburton, confirmed the fear to ESPN's Lisa Salters that Halliburton had sustained an Achilles tendon injury. The precise nature of the injury wasn't made clear, but a ruptured Achilles tendon could sideline Halliburton for a significant part, if not all, of the 2025-26 season. His night in the biggest game of the NBA season and the biggest game of his career was clearly done, and without his services in the second half, the Pacers were overwhelmed. Indiana continued to fight after trailing by as many as 22 points at 90 to 68 in the fourth quarter and cut the OKC lead to 10 points. Benedict Mathurin picked up the slack from Halliburton's absence with a team-high 24 points and 13 rebounds off the bench. Pascal Siakam had 16 points, 4 rebounds. Andrew Nembhard, 15.6 rebounds, 5 assists. And TJ McConnell, who had a huge game for them, but he did have 7 turnovers. He had 16 points and 6 rebounds. Helped keep the Pacers in the game early, but without Halliburton, they didn't have the firepower to complete the rally that they have so many times before in this postseason. First and foremost, before I get to the Pacers side of things, I want to send my love and well wishes to Tyrese Halliburton. Man, you know, that was unfortunate watching that game and seeing him go down like that, and, you know, the emotions that overtook him at the moment when it happened. I kind of figured what it was, because just due to the fact my favorite player is Kevin Durant, as a lot of y'all know, and I remember when he ruptured his Achilles in 2019, and you know, you just see it, and it's unfortunate, man. You know, and I feel for Tyrese Halliburton, and I know a lot of people want to, you know, blame the team and blame the NBA and say, you know, they shouldn't have let him play, and they should do a better job of protecting their players. But at the end of the day, a lot of people would do the same thing Tyrese Halliburton did in that situation. The biggest game of your life. You don't know when the next time your team could possibly be in a position like this. You the best player on the team. You feel like you need to be out there. You feel like your team need to be out there. You want to be out there with your guys. Unfortunately, an injury happened, but he just played the entire Game 6 and played well, and, you know, nothing ended up happening. It's just unfortunate that in Game 7, when all the chips are pushed to the middle of the table, that ended up happening. You know, but I don't look at Rick Carlisle or the team in any bad way. I don't look at, the NBA. I understand sometimes you feel like you got to protect the player from themselves, but at the end of the day, that man wanted to go out there to try to help his team win a championship, because this, believe it or not, no matter what people may think, some of these opportunities are a dime a dozen. How many teams have we seen go to make it to the finals one year and never come back again, never get back there again? You don't know when that opportunity is going to come. So I understand, you know, Tyrese Halliburton wanting to play and wanting to go out there for his guys. It's just unfortunate that this situation had to happen. For the Pacers, I don't think there's nothing that those guys should hold their heads about. I understand it's rough losing in that fashion. You know, the way Halliburton went down and going to Game 7 and, you know, not reaching your ultimate goal. But at the end of the day, this team, let's call it what it is. This team wasn't expected to get there. Nobody expected. If you would have asked anybody at the beginning of the year would the Indiana Pacers be in the NBA Finals, a lot of people probably would have laughed at you. For them to go through the top teams in the Eastern Conference to get here, go through Milwaukee in the first round, go through Cleveland in the second round, go through the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and be on the brink of winning it, one game away from winning the NBA championship. This was a magical season for Indiana, and you know, those guys shouldn't hang their head. They had a hell of a season, a hell of a run. I don't know what they're going to do moving forward with Tyrese Halliburton, more than likely missing all of next season. What the plan is, you know, what do they do? Do they maybe strike while the iron is hot and move on from one of their guys to try to, you know, I don't know where it goes. Do they try to just run it with the guys that they have? I don't know where it goes from here, but one thing I can say, I just want to give a shout out to the Indiana Pacers, man. That was a hell of a season, hell of a run. TJ McConnell played his tail off. Even though he had 7 turnovers, he played his tail off. Pascal Siakam tried to carry the torch. I'm gonna tell you one thing though. If this is no, I'm gonna try to say this as not disrespectful as possible. If y'all don't do nothing, think about getting another center. Cause for Miles Turner in the biggest game, your best player is out. They need you, and for Miles Turner to only end up with 6 points, that's utterly ridiculous, bro. I challenged Miles Turner earlier in the series saying he needs to put his back to the basket. We living in a new age now where all these big men, all they want to do is live and die by the 3. I don't understand it, but that's what it is. But Miles Turner, you were awful this series. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to say it straight like that. Miles Turner was awful. You were awful, bro. It's no way in the game 7 with your star player out and they need you to pick it up. You in the game with 6 points, bro. Cut it out, man. That was awful. Miles Turner, you the only person I say. The rest of the Indiana Pacers, y'all, I give y'all a grace, but Miles Turner, nah, bro, you was not it in this series. You need to get in the lab and work on nothing but post moves. That's it. You don't need to shoot another during this entire offseason. You don't need to shoot a single jump shot, bro. You don't need to shoot a single jump shot. But other than that, shout out to the Indiana Pacers, man. Hell of a series, hell of a season, hell of a run. And, man, I want to send nothing but my well wishes and get well soon out to Tyrese Halliburton. And we just got to wait and see what happened, man. But hell of a series, hell of a final. I'm glad that these two teams were in the finals. It felt like we got a breath of fresh air with both of these teams, man, and it was a good. I feel like it was a good playoffs, and we capped it off with a good final. So, with a good way to wrap up the season. Moving on next. So we had breaking news. Also Sunday, I would say Sunday evening around maybe 12, 1 o'clock, leading up to the game. My guy, Kevin Durant. The Phoenix Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. So what I got for y'all is, I'm going to give y'all my thoughts on Kevin Durant being traded to the Houston Rockets, and does he make them a legit contender in the Western Conference. The Phoenix Suns traded Durant to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks. Phoenix also received the number 10 pick in the 2025 draft and 5 second-round picks as part of the trade. The deal will not officially go through until July 6 per ESPN Bobby Marks due to a restriction in Green's rookie extension, which he signed last October. The second round pick in the trade was stretched to 2032 per NBA insider Jake Fisher. Earlier this month, Durant had reportedly narrowed his preferred destination to 3 places, including Houston, per ESPN Shams. Phoenix was deep in discussion with the 2 finalists, the Rockets and the Miami Heat, throughout the weekend before agreeing to a deal with Houston on Sunday morning. Durant found out about the trade's completion while appearing at Fanatics Fest in New York. Being part of the Houston Rockets, I'm looking forward to it, Durant said. It's a crazy couple of weeks, but I'm glad it's over with. Durant will join an emerging Rockets team that is anchored by rising stars Amin Thompson and Alperen Sengun. As starters, Green and Brooks are sent to Phoenix. The Rockets made the playoffs this season for the first time since 2020 as the number 2 seed in the West. They lost in the first round to the Golden State Warriors. The acquisition of Durant signals Houston's intent to take the next step and challenge the Western Conference champion Oklahoma City Thunder next season. Durant, who will be 37 next season, remains one of the game's elite scorers and shot makers who will slot in as a focal point of Houston's offense. The hope in Houston is that the 2-time NBA champion can raise Houston's profile to that of a championship contender. So I'm going to keep it all the way 100 with y'all, right? When the news first broke, I'm going to be real. I wasn't happy, right? Because leading up to the trade, I kept hearing San Antonio. KD prefers San Antonio. He wanted to go to San Antonio. I kind of got stuck on the idea of him going to San Antonio because I was just thinking of the idea of him going to go play with the young Wemby You got De'Aaron Fox over there. If they somehow were able to keep Castle, you got that's a legit squad over there, and then you could just go ahead and put pieces around them. That's what my mind was stuck on. So when, ironically, the two finalists for KD was the two teams I least wanted them to go to, but he ended up going to Houston. So as I'm doing my research and I'm listening to what people got to say and all that, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The idea of him being in Houston, I started to feel a whole lot better. And now, as of today, I feel good about the move. The reason why I wasn't super excited about Houston at the beginning was because I don't know who watched or whatever, but maybe like a month or so ago, once this probably was like after the first round of the playoffs, I had made a thing because everybody knew KD was going to get traded. The big question was just where. I had made a post saying that my top 3 teams that I felt would be the best fit for KD. And my reasoning behind that was because I felt as though KD, who will be, I believe, 37 when the season starts, I felt as though KD needed to go somewhere where he would go and he wouldn't be the best player. He would just be, like a cherry on top. Like, they already have their best player. KD just coming over there, and that takes them over the top. That's why I felt like a Minnesota would be perfect. I felt like a San Antonio would be perfect. I felt like Dallas would be a solid. Houston, I felt like, okay, KD comes over, he's automatically walks in the door as the best player. And I felt like at his age, to put that much pressure on him, it would be kind of like the same thing in Phoenix. But when you look at Houston and the supporting cast that they have, I like the idea, especially what they were able to keep. You were able to keep Sengun, who was an all-star this past year. You were able to keep Amen Thompson, who was a first-team all-defense, a rising star in this league. You were able to keep Jabari Smith, who can be a top-notch role player. You have Fred VanVleet. You add KD to a core with. They was able to keep Cam Whitmore. They was able to keep Torrey Eason, Steven Adams, Jeff Green. They also have Reed Shepard. That supporting cast, to me right here, this right here is going to be the best all-around supporting cast that Kevin Durant has played with since leaving Golden State. Also, another thing that made me feel a lot better about the trade, Ime Udoka. I'm a huge Ime Udoka guy. I felt like he shouldn't have never lost his job in Boston, but some things happened off the court that was, we're not going to speak on that, but if you know, and that caused him to end up losing his job. But for him to come over to Houston, and I believe this is his second year as the head coach, and for them to be the number 2 seed in the Western Conference with no legit star, now you take Jalen Green, who is 23 years old, but I don't think Jalen Green could be a best player on a championship contending team. He underperformed this past playoffs, and they were eliminated in the first round of Golden State. You take him and Dylan Brooks, who I believe is a good defender, but you take both of those and replace those with, regardless of what people want to say, you replace those with a legit superstar, a guaranteed 25 a night with Kevin Durant. Those young guys around him, they're Ime Udoka, he preaches and loves defense. KD's not going to have to maybe exude as much energy on the defensive side, and he's going to be, what KD's giving you on the offensive side. KD's not giving you nothing under 25 points. We know that. So you take Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks and you replace that with KD. I believe, now I'm going to speak on this in a little bit, but let me say this. I believe that definitely, if those young guys who look good how they did this past season, if they can just be consistent and give you that same impact next year, this team could definitely be a threat in the Western Conference. What KD can do for you on the offensive side. Now, they're going to need a little bit of help on the offensive side. Jabari Smith is going to have to, step his game up. Amen Thompson is not like that on offense. He's going to have to get in the lab and get his offensive side much better. And Sengun was an all-star this past year. I believe if he does the same thing that he's been doing, they'll be solid there. That's baby Joker. So I was a little bit upset with the move, but after thinking about it with this young core that Houston has with the head coach, And you know, you mix in KD with Van Fleet, that veteran presence. They also got Uncle Jeff over there with that veteran presence. I think this team can make some noise, and I'm definitely happy about the trade. Now I'm gonna tell you this, KD, and you know you my dog, KD. If you see this, you probably say something, whatever. KD, listen, this it, bro. This it. This at bare minimum with this team. Looking at this team, what they have. Take injuries out of it. Bare minimum. This team should at least be in the Western Conference Finals. At least. If this team, with taking what they took and adding Kevin Durant to this formula now, if this team don't make at least a Western Conference Finals, I'm going to deem it as a failure. But this is it, KD. You about to be 37 years old. If you can't win here with this team who was just a second seed, if you can't elevate them to where they want to be, that's it, bro. That's it. And I mean, it is what it is. We just going to have to say, hey, you got your 2 chips in Golden State. You know the narrative people going to throw out there. So this right here, to me, this your last shot. This your last shot. This it. Can't keep just bouncing around the different teams. This it, bro. But all in all, I think this right here was a good decision. KD definitely played a role into the decision, and I think this is the right one. I like this. I like the idea of. I like Houston much more than I did Phoenix. Phoenix was a dumpster fire. It was a disaster. I like this Houston move though. KD stats this past season. This is what Houston is getting. You're getting 26.6 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. One of the most efficient players in NBA history, if not the most efficient. The greatest scorer of all time. This is what you get in Houston. So if those young guys mixed with those veterans could just be consistent and give you what they gave you this past season, and now you add KD, the ceiling for this team could be through the roof. The ceiling could be for them NBA Finals. The floor is Western Conference Finals. That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm looking at it, because you know what you're going to get from KD. You know what you're going to get from him. You know the offensive juggernaut that he is. And everybody said last year the only thing they felt Houston was missing was somebody in the clutch that can go get them a bucket. You got your guy now. You know Emmett, you know Udoka going to have that defense looking right. So I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait for this season to come up. Houston, here we come, baby. I ordered my jersey already. So I'm on the bandwagon. I don't care. Y'all know I go where KD go. But I like the idea of it, man. So I can't wait to see what happened with that. But I wasn't with it at first, but now I'm definitely excited about it. Moving on. Back to the NBA Finals this Sunday. So like I said, like y'all know, the Oklahoma City Thunder took Game 7. And they are the NBA champions. So the question I got for y'all is, and I want y'all to comment y'all thoughts down below. Could we possibly be looking at the next dynasty in OKC? So odds makers don't think the Thunder are one-hit wonders. Oklahoma City opened as a plus 240 favorite to win the 2025-26 NBA title at BetMGM. The shortest preseason odds for any team since the 2018-2019 Golden State Warriors, a team that was odds-on favorites, negative 245 to win the championship. According to Sports Odds History, the Warriors team ended up making its 5th consecutive NBA Finals that season, but lost to the Toronto Raptors after both Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson were injured in the postseason. The Oklahoma City Thunder... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping too fast. So, the question is, are we looking at the next possible dynasty in OKC? For me, I think, like I said, as long as you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this team is going to always be competitive. Now, what we do know, and history would tell you, with winning comes chicken. Players going to want their chicken. With winning, now you got other teams that's going to sit and plot to try to pick your roster apart. You got the second apron you got to think about. The only thing that blow these type of teams up is money. We all know that. But I feel like if Oklahoma City can manage to keep that core together of Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and SGA, I think that they can be competitive for years to come. Now, the money situation, because Jalen Williams just made, I think, NBA third team this past year. So I think if he makes an all NBA team next year, I think Jalen Williams is going to be eligible for a big contract. Chet Holmgren is, to me, if Chet Holmgren can stay healthy, at bare minimum, Chet Holmgren is an all-star in this league. Chet Holmgren maybe can hit some incentives to where his numbers can go up. So it's going to be tough, and they may have to go into the second apron to try to keep these guys together to make the role pieces, work out. And I'm sorry for that, y'all. My arms itching. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. But if they can find a way to keep that core of Holmgren, Williams, and SGA together, man, I think we can be looking at a team that can at least, at the bare minimum, win another championship. 2 maybe at the max. But that's how good I think they are. And all these guys are young. But let me read to you about their contract situation first. So the Oklahoma City Thunder face a complex contract situation as they navigate potential extensions for key players like Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, while also managing existing contracts and the looming luxury tax. The team is currently in a strong position with a full roster of guaranteed contracts for the upcoming season, but their long-term financial outlook is challenging due to the potential cost of retaining their core players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is now eligible for a 5-year, $380 million extension after winning MVP. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren both are on rookie contracts and will be eligible for extensions. Their max extensions could be very expensive, potentially starting at $51 million per year. Like I just spoke on, Jalen Williams made an NBA third team, an all NBA third team this season. He is on the third season of a 4-year, $20.3 million rookie contract, which concludes with a team option for the 2025-26 campaign. Williams will become a restricted free agent the following offseason if he isn't signed to a new deal by that time. Williams is eligible for a 5-year, $246 million rookie extension this offseason. It could increase to $296 million if all NBA Most Valuable Player or Defensive Player of the Year honors are negotiated into the contract, according to ESPN's front office insider Bobby Marks. There are no immediate financial implications for Williams being named to an All NBA team. A player who is rookie extension eligible can sign for 30% of the salary cap if he is named to an All-NBA team in 2 out of the 3 previous seasons. This is Williams' first selection. Williams will become eligible to do so if he's named to an All-NBA team in either of the next 2 seasons. He will also become eligible if he was named the league's MVP or Defensive Player of the Year during that time. Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort, the Thunder have team options on both players for the 2026-27 season, which could add significantly to their payroll if picked up. The Thunder have a relatively low guaranteed salary for the 26-27 season, but this will change significantly if they extend Williams and Holmgren and pick up team options on other players. If Thunder pick up the team options on Hartenstein and Dort, they could exceed the luxury tax threshold and even the second apron, which would severely limit their ability to make trades and sign free agents. So again, when we all know what come with winning is now you got to pay these guys, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. The good thing is you got a championship out the deal. The bad thing is now you got to find a way. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Sam Presti and them boys, they don't get an off season. They got to try to figure out how to keep these guys together. Mainly that core, that 3. Holmgren, SGA, Williams. You got to keep those 3 guys together. It's kind of similar to how Golden State kept Curry, Draymond, and Klay together. KD was just the addition later on, but those 3 was the core. OKC got to find a way to try to keep these 3 guys together. If they can keep these 3 guys together, I believe I'm not going to go to a stretch to say they could become a dynasty, because that right there would take a lot. But you never know. But do I see this team If they can keep these three guys together, do I see this team being able to possibly win 1 or 2 more championships? Absolutely, because I think SGA is that good. I think Jalen Williams is a hell of a player, all-star caliber type player. Also, I believe if Chet Holmgren can stay healthy, he's an all-star caliber type player. So, do I believe that that we could be looking at the next dynasty? It's absolutely a possibility, but you gotta find a way to keep that core together. And Sam Presti and y'all boys, y'all been here before. Y'all had Russ, KD, and Harden. Y'all let Harden walk out the door. You can't let one of these three walk out the door. You got to find a way to keep all three of them. Even if that might mean you might have to lose a Lou Dort. You might have to, lose a Harkenstein. You may have to lose a Caruso. But you're going to have to figure out a way to keep these three guys together. And as long as these three guys remain together, I think that this team could definitely be competitive for a long time to come for sure. Absolutely, man. And I'm just happy for those fans in OKC to be able to get that championship going from Seattle. And Seattle, whoever was Supersonics fans out there, you should be happy too. This is your championship too. Moving from Seattle to Oklahoma City, and then after KD leaving, this team was in a drought for a pretty long time. And then Russ tried to carry the torch for a little while. Then they ended up moving on from him, and they was in a drought for a while. For this team to look up 4 years later and be NBA champions, man, this is huge. But I definitely believe, I'm not going to jump Dynasty out there right now. I believe it's a little early for that. But I do wholeheartedly believe if you could find a way to keep these three guys together, this team can definitely get, out of these three guys, this team could definitely get maybe 1 or 2 more championships. SGA stats this past season: 32.7 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Jalen Williams, 21.6 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 5 assists. Chet Holmgren, 15 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. And if Chet would have stayed healthy, then we probably could have been looking at 20 points a game for Chet. But they got to find a way to keep this core together. If you can keep these three guys, I think Oklahoma City will be good for a little while to come. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me each and every week. I know everybody else going on vacation, but I ain't going on vacation, man. We going to find a way to keep this thing rolling until, NFL, we about to get in that bag, is coming up, but we going to find a way to keep this thing rocking and rolling until then, man. But like I said, I appreciate y'all. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button. We on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like the video, share the content when it drops. Also, follow me on all social media platforms. I'm about to start getting active on X. I've really just been mostly Instagram and TikTok, but I'm about to start getting active on that X, man. But follow me on all social media platforms. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next time.